Hi everybody, we are here for our lesson on feedback and revision, and our learning target for this lesson is I can use feedback to revise and improve my work. So let's talk about why we even need these things. Well, first of all, we sometimes get very thoughtful and emotional about our own work. Sometimes we only see the mistakes, and sometimes we can't see any mistakes because of how we feel about our own work. It can be very hard to be what we call objective on it. And we also like to revise because oftentimes, things aren't perfect the first time, or as we think about things later, we get even better ideas. So always going back to revise can help us improve and make things work even better. So we get feedback from critics. Now, when people think of the word critic, we think of absolutely horrible people and absolutely mean people and people kind of like this, the ones who sit there and yell and scream and are just awful to us. That's not what a critic should be. That's just way too emotional. But we also have critics who want to tell us that everything is perfect and lovely and it's amazing, and maybe they're not seeing the mistakes because, again, they're very emotional about it, and that's not what we want. We want somebody who's going to be what we call cold-hearted, meaning not emotional. They don't care one way or another. They're just looking at what it is for what it is. And they're going to tell you, here's what was great, here's what was not so great, here's where you can maybe improve, but here's what you need to keep doing because it's amazing, kind of thing. So again, we want those positive and negatives, never just one or the other. You should be looking for both to see what do I need to continue doing and what can I work on. And if there's something I can work on, please tell me what that specifically is, or maybe some suggestions to help me out. So where our critics are going to give us that feedback is going to be in places like rubrics and comments on a document or an assignment as we go, but they're going to be very specific. For example, on the rubric, like the ones that's right in front of me, it's very detailed, so you can say, oh, if I got a 2, here's what I did or what I didn't do, and now to get to a 3, this is what I need to do to fix it. So you can kind of see those exact things, or we may have various comments about a specific thing to move on. So let's give you an example, because here I have my paragraph, and let's talk about what we're going to do to use it. So I had given up me a 4 here and 3s for the rest. So technically I mastered this, but if I wanted to improve my evidence, I would just look at this section under a 4 and figure that out, what I need to do. But I also have a comment because somebody was kind enough to give me feedback, and I'm going to look for what worked, and then I see here, oh, it says that I need to connect my evidence more, and I have a suggestion of try a different format, see if you can make that work. Great suggestion. I might try it out. And when I try it out, that's because I'm going into my revision stage. So let's talk about what revision is. It literally means seeing again, kind of like for the first time, kind of like our little buddy here who couldn't see anything, gets glasses for the first time, and now it's a whole new world in front of him. So that's what we're looking for, is literally fresh eyes to see what's going on. And it's about ideas. It is not about the nitty-gritty little editing details. So once you have that feedback and you're ready to revise, let's talk about what you do. First of all, here's what you don't do. It's not about punctuation, spelling, those little things. Those matter, we'll get there, but that's not revision, that's editing. We also don't want to do tiny things like, oh, I just changed good to great. That's not cutting it. What we're talking about is actually finding a focus, skill, or something that we got in our feedback to improve. Don't do everything at once. It becomes overwhelming. You want to look big picture. Like if my evidence isn't clear, I'm going to check on my evidence and focus on that instead of just changing my little words over here. If you don't get my evidence, my reasoning won't matter, kind of thing. So look at what's going to give you the biggest impact first, and then go down to more details from there as you revise. All right, so really quick story time. When I used to revise my work at home, when I was a college student, I would write a whole draft, print it, clear out my old document on my computer, and then read through it, and I would start reorganizing paragraphs and saying, oh, I don't like how I said that. This idea flows better here, and kind of redo the ideas as I rewrote a second draft. Now that sounds kind of ridiculous, but what was more ridiculous is I would do it a third time where I would print my second draft, clear it out, and redo it. Because as I worked through the drafts, my ideas would change on exactly how did I want to say this, how is it more clear, this makes more sense coming first because I need to explain that before I get this part right. So I would completely revise and redo this. Now you don't have to completely start from scratch, start over and write that way like a maniac like I did, but what you do want to do is actually take a chance to look at your work objectively, see what other people have said about it, and see what can I do to improve this. It's never about you. It's never anything personal when we give feedback. It's only about how can I get what I want to say across better. So you don't have to start with a real blank page when you revise, but maybe not just going word by word, trying to take bigger ideas and play around with them, move sentences, try different words, try making shorter sentences and mix them up with longer sentences, and having all kinds of fun in your revision. But either way, revision and feedback go hand in hand to improve your work.